Hello and welcome to this very special bonus podcast of Castival. My name is Matt Hoss and it's just me today, and I am going to give this tiny little snippet from me to you as a little New Year's gift. Most of the time, it's usually me listening or asking about other people's music taste, but I thought for this one-off special, just a very short episode, I'm going to tell you about my top albums of 2020. So, a lot of albums particularly resonated with me this year because it's a year like no other. It's been a very hard year for the music industry, but even so, there's been some really amazing tracks. Honestly, there have been some albums which have been my favourite in the whole world, and it's been made particularly more and more relevant because of the odd situation that we all find ourselves in. Here are several albums I've really loved this year and I really wanted to share it with you. I'm not going to drone on for too long. I hope you enjoy. So okay, in no particular order.
Album number 1.
Firstly, it's AJJ, the band, with their latest album called Good Luck Everybody. AJJ are a folk punk band who've had a lot of different sounds and evolutions over their very varied career. Good Luck Everybody is no exception to that rule. This album set out to be the most lyrically punk album, and I think that's absolutely true. It's not punk in terms of the guitar work or the melodies, apart from a couple of songs, but that the words really spit out a lot of home truths, crunchy satire, and heartbreaking revelations. It's a very moving album, and it inadvertently was a guide map for 2020 for me. It came out in January, quite early in January, and the album concludes with a song called A Big Day for Grimly, and the final lyrics are Good Luck Everybody, which Sean Bonnet articulates in both a cynical sentiment as well as a hopeful one for the future. Little did he know about the year ahead. But also on top of this, Sean Bonnet from AJJ has done a mostly daily live stream in lockdown and does those online shows regularly, and that's just been the glue for my year. And check out Good Luck Everybody from AJJ.
Number 2.
Brave Faces Everyone by Spanish Love Songs. Oh, what a humdinger. So, Spanish Love Songs were one of the very few bands I've actually seen live this year. It was pre-pandemic. Do you remember those halcyon days where we were allowed to go to music gigs? Oh, they were so good. I saw Spanish Love Songs supporting the Menzingers in Newcastle in February, and they really impressed me. They were supporting, and they just blew me away there and then. Rarely do you see a sport band as such life-affirming as Spanish Love Songs. This is their third album, and it's and obviously Brave Faces Everyone has a similar title and similar messages to AJJ, but I think their points come across very differently, and I would say Spanish Love Songs have a very much more bleaker edge to them as well. They have a very cynical vibe, and they don't pull their punches whatsoever. They have a lot of insightful lyrics, and occasionally, to be fair, it's quite bleak, but occasionally quite positive looks out in life. It's a joy to listen to, despite the crushing lyrics, and they really are. I think those songs are the anthems of the 21st century. Check out Brave Faces Everyone by Spanish Love Songs.
Number 3.
I really love that voice, by the way. Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers. Oh, I kind of feel like this is quite I'm going to say mainstream. Phoebe Bridgers isn't necessarily mainstream, but it's certainly more accessible out of all the things I've kind of put. Maybe not accessible, but certainly more well-known. Phoebe Bridgers is just a phenomenon at the moment. This album, it's romantic, heartbreaking, and just sad, but wonderful at the same time. It's wonderfully woven into this masterpiece of an album. Phoebe Bridgers is getting more and more famous at the moment, and so I really feel like I'm understating her songwriting prowess. If you need a way into her work, I really couldn't recommend the song Kyoto more. I think that is my favourite song on the album, and maybe one of my favourite songs in the whole year. It's really I'm gonna say it's a perfect song. It really encapsulates everything about it, and I don't know anyone who couldn't like that song. And I think it's one of the most perfect songs recorded, and that was Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers.
Number 4.
So this is a big one for me. No Dream by Jeff Rosenstock. This was a surprise album, and what a hell of an album. It's punchy, volatile punk, but with a biting societal critique, with heartbreaking intimacy of human details of Jeff's life as well. So, this album is really, really amazing, because it came out in the summer. No Dream is about Jeff's ability to not be able to leave the house, and his lack of sleep, and his anxieties about the world, and how crushing everything is. And he talks about how his anxiety and the state of the world incapacitates him in life, so he can't even leave the house, which was so perfect for 2020. When I listened to that, it was like he had been there in lockdown with me. It's an album about self-care, anxiousness and resilience, and in typical Rosenstock fashion, he applies it to both his personal life and his political perception of the world. No Dream is a great punk album, but yet again, Jeff Rosenstock's albums transcend the genre and develop something which is more than just an album. It is really, it's an event, it's a moment, it's a movement. Jeff Rosenstock, No Dream. There are some other really honourable mentions I would like to say, like the Soccer Mommy, Laura Jane Grace, Bruce Springsteen, Run the Jewels, their fourth album. There are Laura Veers and The Big Moon as well. And I always find it quite hard to rank stuff, and I don't like ranking stuff for the sake of it, but I just wanted to highlight some of those things. But I also wanted to give a special award out. I'm not doing awards, but I'm going to give it a special little mention to my favourite live album of the year, and that goes out to Metallica with Symphony Metallica 2, otherwise known as S&M 2. If you don't know what it is, it's where Metallica play alongside the San Francisco Symphony, and they play a live version of their songs, and they play alongside the arrangement. So there's a symphony and Metallica S&M. Yeah, it could be quite easily conceived that it's kind of a money spinner for the band, but actually it's the opposite for me. It kind of reaffirms that they really do love their music, and honestly Metallica don't need any more money, but it shows that they really want to push the form, and it wasn't just a cheap knock on the head, just do it randomly. They put so much thought and effort into it, and they're an experimental metal band. Despite having like millions of dollars in the bank, they want to push out the form more, and they want to play around with it, and like their history allows them to kind of be a bit wary of that, with Saint Anger and stuff like that, but they still put it out in such a original and wonderful fashion. They take risks which small bands can't do, and I think that's wonderful. And they do put the boat out, and they play like classical music for 15 minutes, and they find listen to the second half of the album where the symphony takes over for a bit, and it's really wonderful, and it's a nice mixture between classical music and metal, and I think it's really wonderful. And on top of that, they reimagine a lot of songs from Saint Anger as well, and not to go into too much detail, but what Saint Anger is, it's an album where it's kind of like a forgotten album, and they kind of did really badly, and it was an experimental album on their behalf, and they kind of swept it under the rug. But with Symphony Metallica, they revisited quite a few of the songs, in particular All Within My Hands, and they rewove it with experience and with a lot of TLC, and really remade the song into something extra wonderful. I already loved that song, I already loved that album, but they really transcended that song and that album, and they kind of did it justice, which is really one of my favourite things about this album, and that's why it is my favourite live album. And there's not many music gigs happening in 2020, but I thought that was worthy of the best live album this year. So some absolute gems there for you to check out, and obviously check out the NME one, that's also really good, and plenty of awesome stuff to listen to. But hopefully you enjoyed that. If you'd like to hear more great musical opinions, why don't you check out Castival. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. If you haven't given this 5-star rating, please do that. And on top of that, why don't you give me a follow at Matt House Comedy on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and follow us at Castival Podcasts and all those places as well. We'll be back in the new year for more seasons and more great guests. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you very soon. Bye!